Hi, I'm Laura. Welcome to Coon Craft Yoga. This practice today is really going to work deeply into your core, and it's focusing on core compression. So if you are looking for a quick workout that's really going to warm up and heat up your middle, you will absolutely enjoy this practice and you will definitely feel it. But you will also get an added focus into compressing into the core. So if you're working on certain postures, such as trying to get into your first arm balance, often crow pose is one of the first arm balances that we learn. And having that pull and that compression and strength within the core can help us maintain the balance into crow. Other options are also, if you're working on press handstand, something that's one of my goals to work into. These are all very good foundations and basic exercises for you to get accustomed to and to build into your core strength, and also into that posturing of drawing deeply within the middle and using that compression between your core. And also there's some mobility focused within that as well when you're working into these postures, arm balances, press handstand, where you have the combination of flexibility and strength. So today we'll also work some into our hamstrings and work into that area, because having some length and opening into the back body will ease ourselves into the compression, along with, of course, some work into the hip flexors. A whole package. There is really no isolation when we're working a lot of these movements and asanas. There's a lot of things going on. Today, we're focusing on core. You're going to get a great workout. Let's get started at the top of our mat, simply by just warming up the core. We're going to start with some roll downs. Maybe this is the very first thing you're doing and you want to get at it right away. We'll go ahead and get started by standing with the feet about hip width distance apart. Let's go ahead and slowly roll down by dropping the neck, chin to chest, allowing the shoulders to curl forward, starting to draw the navel in, taking a nice deep bend in the knees. As we just simply roll forward, allow the head, neck, shoulders, arms to hang. As you lower all the way down, maybe you take the bend out of the knees, straighten the legs, start to lift up with the tailbone, stretching into the back line of the body. And then from here, again, take a soft bend in the knee. Then start to tuck the tailbone and slowly roll the spine back up. Allow the top half to stay heavy, tucking the tailbone, pressing firmly into the ground to rebound yourself, lifting back up until you come back to standing once more. Let's take that 2 more times. Slowly roll down. Just warming up the spine, warming up the middle. Make your way back to standing. You can go slower than me. You can go a little bit faster. However feels good in your spine today, just to get started. On the last one, we'll all roll up to standing, tucking the tailbone, rolling up just one vertebra at a time, allowing the neck, followed by the head, to come all the way up to standing. From here, we're going to begin our warm-up with a couple of Surya Namaskar A's. So inhale the arms up, reach the fingertips up towards the sky, gaze up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfways lift. Place the hands down on the mat. You can step back into plank. Place the shoulders just slightly in front of the wrists. Bend the elbows, slowly lower chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale to down dog. Let's take a couple of breaths here. Inhale through the nose, exhale out through the mouth. Inhale out through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. One more inhale. Exhale through the mouth. On the next inhale, let's step the feet up in between the hands. Lift the chest, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees. Start to raise the chest, raise the arms as you come up to standing. Then draw the hands down through heart center. One more round. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhales, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, plant the hands, step the feet back. Slowly lower with control into your chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, lift the hips, push back into your downward facing dog. One more breath here. And exhale, release. From here, we're going to start moving into our core compression sequence. We'll start by moving onto the right side. So we'll begin with tiger curls, pretty common in yoga. So we're going to inhale the right foot up to the sky for three-legged dog. From three-legged dog, start to bend that right knee. As you shift forward, try to keep the arms straight. And then as you move forward, round into the belly. Widen the shoulders across the back. Draw the knee into the chest. And keep the arms straight as you shift the shoulders just slightly in front of the wrists, keeping that knee drawn in. On an inhale, return back to your three-legged dog. Exhale, draw it forward. Tiger curl. Inhale, lift. Exhale, draw it forward. Inhale, lift. Exhale, curl and round. Make space as if you're going to plant that foot down. Inhale, reach back, three-legged dog. Last tiger curl, draw it forward. And then inhale, three-legged dog. Very good. From here, we're going to take a small variation. We're going to round forward, draw that knee in. This time drawing it to the right armpit. From your right armpit, we're going to lower the knee to the right wrist. Use the core engage. Draw it back up to the right armpit. And then release back into three-legged dog. That's one round. We're going to go for 5 of those. From here, shift forward. Tiger curl. Round the upper back. Draw the right knee to the right armpit. Lower to the right wrist. Lift back up to the armpit. And then extend back, three-legged dog. Very good. 3 more. Draw it forward. Lower to the wrist. Bring it up. Draw the core in. And push back to three-legged dog. Only 2 more. Rounding to the armpit. Lower to the wrist. Reach up to the armpit. Extend back. Three-legged dog. Go ahead and come back into your downward facing dog. I just need to fix my mic for 1 moment. If you need to take a break and move into child's pose, by all means, do so. Always a technical difficulty. All right, pushing back into your downward facing dog. If you weren't already there, we're going to move into wrist taps. On the right side, we're going to begin by lifting the right foot just 2 inches or so up off of the mat. And we're going to do that by drawing that right femur in to the right hip socket, lifting and drawing that right foot up. From here, again, keeping the rounding into the upper back and into the spine by drawing the navel in, we're going to shift forward. Maybe tap the right wrist with the right toes. And you can adjust your down dog if you need to make it a little bit shorter. I understand the travel can be kind of far. That was one. We're going to take 5 total. So again, lift the right foot, draw it in, draw the navel in, shift forward, foot to wrist, push back, downward facing dog. Draw the right hip up, shift forward. Tap the right wrist and push back. Draw the right hip up, push forward, and then come back. Can we make one more? Lift the right foot, shifting forward, tap the right wrist, and then push back to your downward facing dog. Fantastic. From downward facing dog, let's shift forward to plank. Slowly lower chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Very good. Take a moment, maybe even take a child's pose if you need it. Inhale. And exhale, relax. Next inhale. And exhale, release. Moving on to the left side. Inhale the left foot up. Three-legged dog, tiger curls on the left side. Bend the left knee. Shift forward. Draw the left knee in. Keep lifted. Keep lifted as high as you can. And then push back. Inhale. Exhale. Draw the knee in to the chest, shifting forward. Inhale, three-legged dog. 3 more. Draw the knee in. And then push back, lifting high with that left foot. 2 more. Make these count. Draw that left knee in. Lift. Stay high. And then push back. Last one. Draw the knee in. And then push back, three-legged dog. Very good. From here, we're going to move into those armpit to wrist lowers. Again, keeping the same lift in your tiger curl. Start to shift forward. Draw the knee in. Now to the left armpit. Staying lifted in the core, but we're going to also lower that left knee to the left wrist. Use the strength in your core to come back to the left armpit. And then push back, three-legged dog. We'll take 4 more just like that. Shift forward with control. Draw the knee up. Lower down. Use the core to draw it back up to the armpit. Push back, three-legged dog. Once more. Well, actually 3 more. Armpit to wrist. Back to armpit. And pushing back to three-legged dog. We're almost there. This is an upper body and a core challenge. Back to the armpit. Pushing back, three-legged dog. 1 more. Armpit to the wrist. Back to the armpit. Pushing back to three-legged dog. Lift, lift, lift with that left leg. And then slowly lower down to your down dog. Push back in downward dog. Let's take an inhale. Exhale it out through the mouth. 1 more. Release and exhale it out. From this position, we're going to take those wrist taps with the left toes to the left wrist. You can shorten your stance just slightly, maybe an inch or 2. And from here, we're going to round into the upper back. Come onto the toes of both the feet. Start to shift the left foot forward. Maybe reach the left wrist. Come back to your downward facing dog. For 1, shift forward. Tap the left wrist. Shift back. For 2, shifting forward. Tap. Shift back. 2 more. Tapping the wrist. This is definitely a harder side for me. Last one. Tap the left wrist. And then come back to our downward facing dog. Inhale. And exhale. From here, we'll take a vinyasa. Shift forward onto the toes. Maybe widen out your stance so you can come into plank. Slowly lower down into chaturanga. Inhale. Upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Very good. From downward facing dog, let's just take little baby steps and walk ourselves. Maybe come onto our tiptoes. Walk our feet in between our hands. See how close you can get by keeping your hands to the floor and keep walking those feet in until your chest touches the top of your thighs. Also, a little compression challenge here. Inhale, halfways lift. Exhale. Let's just forward fold. Allow the head to hang. Maybe even grab opposite elbows. You can shift the knees, bend and straighten, and take a moment in your forward fold. When you're ready, go ahead and inhale, halfways lift. Start to bend the knees, hands to the hips, and then we're going to roll ourselves up to standing. From this position, we're going to come into standing good mornings. So we'll step the left foot back, coming into a wide-legged straddle, standing straddle, so that the feet are parallel, the toes are just slightly turned in. And for these next few movements, we want to work on having that tilt in our tailbone so that we have a nice arch in the back and we're avoiding rounding and tucking the tailbone. We want to think about keeping the tailbone pushing towards the sky. So I'm going to turn sideways and hopefully I can still maintain some footing as my carpet is a little bit slippery. And then just a quick demonstration from a side view. As you lower in these good mornings, we'll begin with our hands to our hips to make it a little bit easier. As you lower, think about keeping an arch in the back. If you feel that you start to round and start to curve in the low back and tuck the tailbone, come up a little higher. Don't go as low. So only go as low as you can maintain that arch and still get a really good stretch in the back of the legs. We're working on mobility here, working on getting that flexibility into the back of the legs so that if you are working on compression, it's easier to get that fold so that we can fold ourselves in half. So for our good mornings, take that wide-legged stance. Feel comfortable, maybe a slight bend in the knees, starting with the hands on the hips, and we'll go for 10, slowly lower. Again, keeping a nice arch in the back, lifting the tailbone. Think about spilling a bowl of soup as you lower down, and then come up for 1, lower down, and up for 2. It's a great way to wake up the back body. A little easier to do standing than it is to do seated. So we're going to take standing today. 3, 4, 5. I like to feel like I'm leading with my chest, trying to reach out in front of me with the heart center. That helps me maintain that arch into my lower back, getting that nice pelvic tilt that I'm looking for. 2 more. Very good. Coming back up to standing. This time we're going to make it a little bit harder by changing our position of our arms. So instead of having the arms at the waist, we'll have the arms behind the head, interlacing the fingers. Now, if this is too hard and you feel like you can't maintain that nice stretch into the back of the legs and you feel yourself rounding into your back, then go ahead and lower the arms and don't come down quite as low. Again, we'll take 10 of these. So inhale and then lower down. I can already feel this is harder. A little more strength to maintain in the back of my hamstrings. Coming back up, lowering down. Go at your own pace. Try to go for 10 here. Sometimes I don't like to count during classes because I feel like maybe I might be rushing you. So if you need to go at your own time or maybe even do a couple extra, that's perfectly fine. We're really, really warming up into the back of the legs here. and still staying strong in the core because we need that strength to lift ourselves back up to an upright posture. We'll take 3 more. I'm loving how these are feeling into the back of my legs today. And even keeping my chest nice and wide and open by having the shoulders drawn out. Very good. On the last one, we'll go ahead and step ourselves back up to the front of the mat. Take an inhale here and exhale, release the arms down by the sides. Maybe shake them out a little bit. You can give the knees a little bit of a wiggle. When you're ready, inhale the arms up, gazing up towards the sky, maybe taking a little back bend, reaching towards the back of the room, stretching it out. And then exhale, let's all forward fold. Closing in towards the top of the thighs, gazing behind you. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step the feet back, and then slowly lower, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Very good. From down dog, let's inhale the right leg up to the sky. Bend the right knee. Let's just open that right hip for a moment. In a bent-legged, 3-legged dog. And then straighten the right knee. Start to tiger curl. We're going to round. Really draw in to that chest. Hollow out the chest. Draw in the navel and the belly, making space for the right foot to come in between the hands. And then from here, from our low lunge, we're going to set that back left knee onto the mat. We're going to enjoy a little stretch here as we shift the hips back, coming into half splits. Let's enjoy this because we're about to do some work in our half splits. So first, let's take a little activation. Lift the chest up a little higher. Try to straighten out the back. And then as you exhale, let's lower, trying to keep the back as straight as you can. Slight micro bend in that right knee if you need it. Toes pointing up. Press that right heel into the mat. Maybe feel a little bit more as you activate by pressing into the right heel. Draw the right hip back towards the back of the room. And from your half splits, let's go ahead and come out of it by just taking a movement, shifting the hips forward into low lunge. From low lunge, we'll pause here, taking a little break before we move back into our half splits and do an active compression exercise. So from our low lunge, again, let's shift back. So the left hip is on top of the left knee, starting to straighten out that right leg. Now we're going to activate into the front of the right quad and use that quad to draw and lift the right toes up. Now, maybe they don't even lift up off of the mat, and that's fine, but you'll still feel it. And having cramping into the right thigh when you do this exercise is completely normal. So if you need to pause, give the thigh a little tap to break up the cramp. By all means, go ahead and do that. So from here, again, trying to keep the back straight as much as you can. And you can even have the hands on blocks. We're going to lift the right heel up and off of the mat and lower. Very good. We're going to lift and lower. Let's go for 8 of these. 3, down, 4, and lower. 5, lower. 6, lower. 7, lower. 8, and lower. Very good. From here, let's shift forward again into that low lunge. Just enjoy a little stretch into the hips. Release into that right thigh. If you need to, you can even bring the hands to the right thigh. Give it a little quick massage. And then when you're ready, tuck the back toes. Shift the right foot back and we'll vinyasa lower. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, push it back into downward facing dog. From your down dog, let's inhale the left leg up, coming to a three-legged dog. And then go ahead and bend the left knee. Opening into the right hip, enjoying a little stretch, a little break. And then let's straighten the left leg. Start to tiger curl the left knee in. Really lift, come up high onto the back toes, shifting forward, placing the left foot in between the hands. Lower the back knee down, coming into low lunge, untucking the toes. From your low lunge, we'll move into that nice hamstring stretch onto the left side. Shift the hips back so the right hip is about in line with the right knee. And then we're moving into a stretch on the left side. Again, trying to keep the back straight. If you need to have hands on blocks or fingertips, go ahead and come there, starting up higher, lowering down until you feel an activation into the back of that left leg. And then to move even further, press that left heel down into the mat, drawing the left hip or the left femur into the hip socket, pulling the left hip back. And when you're ready, let's go ahead and shift forward, come back into low lunge, just our little break before we take that compression activation on the left side. And when you're ready, shifting back into half split, setting yourself up if you need hands to blocks or coming a little bit higher. Going to work into that activation by lifting the left foot, keeping the foot flexed for 1 and lower. Lifting for 2 and down. I'm drawing the navel in, really pulling in with the core, activating the quad. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And slowly lower the foot, shift forward into your low lunge. Maybe take the hands to the thigh and give it a little massage. And when you're ready, we're going to tuck the back toes. Send that left foot back, coming back into plank. Bring the shoulders in front of the wrist, bend the elbows as you exhale for chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And then push back into our downward facing dog. Nice cleansing breath here. Inhale. Exhale, release it out. One more. Very good. From here, we're going to come through to a seated staff position. So if you have your jump through, you could certainly do that now. If you are working on compression, I'm guessing that that's something that may not be there for you yet. So instead, we're going to take the left foot to the right wrist. So listen to me as I cue this. We're going to shift forward, come up high onto the toes. And then from here, take the left knee, draw it in. Set the left foot to the right wrist. So you have the back of the left foot to the right wrist. And now draw the right foot, crossing it behind to the left wrist. And from here, you can just sit yourself down onto your tailbone and then extend the legs out long. It's a good place to start if you're working on your jump through, because that does require quite a bit of strength and core compression, and also just all the movements of having everything come together and have the legs float through. Working on an L sit is also a good place to start if you're working on your jump through. Wherever you're at, we're going to come to our staff pose. And from staff, from here, we're going to actually just lower ourselves down onto our backs. We're going to work onto some reclined core compression strength here. So on your back, legs extended out long, We're going to work in coming into almost like a plow pose shape, but we're going to have the arms extended overhead. And I'm going to scoop myself down just a tiny bit on my mat so I feel like I'm connected where I need to connect. The arms extended overhead. Using our core strength, drawing in our belly, we'll start to lift both of the legs. And then flexing the feet, we come up through this 90-degree position. From this 90-degree position, we're starting to lower the legs down. Reach, 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 folding the tops of the thighs to the belly and to the chest. Maybe we can touch the wrists with our toes. Try to keep the legs straight. And then as you come back, continue to keep the legs straight. Try to keep the tops of the thighs connected to the rib cage for as long as you can until you come back through center into that 90-degree shape, and then lower the legs all the way down to the mat. Yes, this is a lot of core strength. We're going to try to take 5 of these. That was 1. Again, start to lift and then flex the feet. As you flex the feet and come past center, start to close that gap between the tops of the thighs and the rib cage. Reach, reach, reach for the toes, maybe touching the wrists. And then as you start to come out, keep closed as much as you can, drawing in the navel, keeping the legs as close to the body as possible, slowly coming out. All done with control. You might walk a little bit on your mat. I can already tell that I'm walking a little bit. That's natural. That's 2. We have 3 more to go. These are huge. Coming through center, flexing the feet, maybe reaching the wrists. Go for it. If you get really close, that's amazing. Slowly, 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 start to come out. Allow every part of the spine to touch the mat, and then softly come out of it. If there was one thing that I'd want to practice every day, it would be these. It's a great full body workout. Done slowly, it's quite a challenge. Reach, reach, reach for the wrists. And I also think it's kind of a nice massage into the back. Slowly lower. Very good. We have one more. Can we do it? Are you all still with me? Start to bring the feet up. Flexing the feet, keeping the legs straight. Drawing in with the core. It's getting harder to talk. And then reverse. Lower the legs down. This time, letting them come to relax onto the floor. And then here you can go ahead and draw the knees in. Give yourself a little massage. Draw the knees in. Rock yourself back and forth, side to side. Allow the abs to relax. When you're ready, we're going to take the hands behind the thighs and just roll ourselves up to seat. I do have one more compression exercise before we do a small cool down. And this is also incredibly challenging and would be on my top 5 list as far as compression exercises that you could practice at least 3 times a week if you're trying to get into the goals of like press handstand or even your first arm balances. And so this would be single leg lifts. Now, done correctly, we want to try to keep the back as flat as possible. So sometimes people will practice this against a wall because having that wall there will prevent you from moving back and rounding into the back. Wherever you practice at, even using a mirror, try to maintain that flat back. And then what we're going to do is keep the chest. Try to come as close to the thighs as possible. And then with the feet flexed, we're going to lift one leg at a time and then lower. Now, again, that cramping into the thighs, it's going to happen. Go ahead and pound it out when you need to. We're going to try to do 10 on each side. It's a lot. We're going to really heat it up at the end here. If you need to stay higher, like this, or even arms right beside you, that's exactly where you can be, and you're still going to feel it into the thighs. So wherever you're at, come until you could feel maybe that point where the back wants to start to round, and then just stop right there. So I'm going to stay right here myself today. My back's being a little funny, so I'm just going to stay a little higher, and then we're going to start on the left side with 10. Keep the foot flexed and lift for 1, lift and lower for 2, lift and lower for 3, up and down. That's 4, lift and lower 5, halfway's there, up and rest, up and rest. And we're on 8, 9, and 10. Lower down. Go ahead and relax that left thigh. Give it a little massage, or I like to just give it a good wrap with my knuckles to help break up the cramping. And we'll move into the right side. So when you're ready, again, find that good posture for you. Hands on the mat, back straight, right foot flexed. And we'll go for 10. Lift and lower. Maybe like me, you're noticing one side is easier than the other. We have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're almost there. 9 and 10. Very, very, very good. Go ahead and give both of the thighs a good little shake down. And then from here, we'll cross the ankles, roll over the knees, come through tabletop. Let's go ahead and just walk the legs out behind us and come onto our belly into Sphinx pose. After a big abdominal workout, I do like to reverse in a gentle back bend, and Sphinx is nice because you get that added compression onto the low belly, so it's just like a nice little massage as we're here. And then also, since we did do a lot of work into the legs, working onto the mobility, the flexibility of the hamstrings, activating the quads, we'll take a little stretch from this back bend. So take the right arm as a kickstand, bend the left knee, reach back around for the left foot, maybe spin the fingers so they face the front of the room, and then draw the left foot down towards the glutes for a stretch. Activating and really stretching into the front of those quads. You might really love this. Make this a little deeper by pressing the knee down into the mat. Very good. When you're ready, go ahead and release. We'll take that on the opposite side. Placing the left arm down, reaching for that right foot. Start to bend the right foot in towards the right glutes. Maybe spin the right fingertips around to face the front of the room. Get a little shoulder stretch in the front of the shoulder as well. Press into the right knee and you'll feel a deeper stretch into that right quad. And then release the right leg. From here, let's go ahead and take the hands underneath the shoulders, press ourselves up, and sit back into a hero's pose. From hero's pose, just allow the hands to fold into the lap, the left hand underneath the right, with the palms facing up. Take an inhale. Exhale, relax the shoulders down the back. One more like that. Exhale, release. And when you're ready, let's inhale the arms out and up, reaching the fingertips up towards the sky. Maybe a little back bend as you gaze up towards the fingertips, and then draw the hands down through heart center to close our practice today. Thanks for showing up on your mat today. I hope you enjoyed that challenging core workout. I know I definitely felt it at the end. You can really feel this into your lower abs. All of this build up, it really will build up strength as you work, maybe if you want to accomplish certain more advanced postures in yoga. All bodies are different, so some of us feel more poses are more advanced than others. So it depends on what you're working on. Overall, if you're looking for a great core workout, this was it. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit that like button if you did, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss new classes here every single week. As always, I hope you have a great day and make it a good one. Bye.